So yesterday in the AFC Division game between the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills, which were perhaps one of the best NFL playoff game I've ever seen in my life, and if you never got a chance to see it, you can maybe watch the replay of it, or if you didn't watch it live, I do of course send my condolences because of how good the game of course went. But one of the big controversy from yesterday game is the overtime rule, and that there's been a lot of discussion about the NFL overtime rule, and that it's kind of unfair, the fact that one team of course win the coin toss, and then if they can of course score a touchdown, they basically win the game and not even give the other team a chance to score. And while I'm not going to mainly talk about whether or not do I agree with that rule, because after all, this is an MLS channel, it's not an NFL channel, I want to kind of talk about something that is related to that, to talk about the PK Shootout, because we know that the PK Shootout is basically what decide a game in the playoffs, when the game of course still ends in a tie after 120 minutes. And I'm specifically not going to talk about just the modern day PK Shootout that MLS basically adapt, or in the case pretty much it's a PK show that everyone around the world and the FIFA law basically said of how in a PK show you usually have the ball placed in the 12-yard box and hold and see if players can basically hit it into the back net, or the goalkeeper can save it. No, I'm talking about the old PK Shootout, and talk about the PK show that the league basically used in the first couple of years of existing. And believe it or not, that old PK show where players basically start from the 35-yard line, they basically kind of run up field, and hopefully they can get one past the goalkeeper as the goalkeeper is basically charged down the field. That method actually wasn't originate from when MLS decided to use that as the way to decide a draw, and use that as the PK show. This actually was a thing that all started in the 80s in the NASL, where that was kind of how it works. Well, actually, not just the 80s, but even in the 70s when the NASL basically used that as a different way. And I'll kind of talk about in this video of the fact that why we should maybe bring back that old PK Shootout, or why it probably should not be brought back, because there's been a lot of discussion about this, and that some have said that they want to bring it back, some have said that they don't want to see it. So today, of course, we'll go through all the advantage and disadvantage, and of course mentioning why it should be brought back of the old PK show that MLS used to use, and why it shouldn't be brought back. So we start off with why it should back, and I'll give through 4 different reasons of it for each one. So the thing that we want to bring back the old PK Shootout is that it definitely creates much more equality for both the shooter and goalkeeper. And what that kind of also means is that in the modern day PK show, and in the PK show that basically we see, it's a huge disadvantage to our goalkeeper, because goalkeeper, they kind of almost had to guess the right way. Though I think nowadays goalkeeper have done a much better job than it ever have been in terms of guessing where the shooter is going to shoot, and which side is the penalty kick taker is going to go. But majority of the time, if you look at the stats, usually the penalty kick taker will always converts the penalty kick that he is given. And I think what is good about this old PK show is that it kind of creates an equality, and kind of almost put a level playing field, where not all the time that we've seen where this old PK Shootout that MLS used to be means that the penalty kick taker is going to convert. In fact, there's a lot of times where if you watch some of these old PK Shootout in the first couple of years of the league existing, you could maybe even say the goalkeeper kind of had a little bit of an upper edge too, because the goal scorer had to go through and go, and he has to kind of get past him, and it's definitely not easy to see. And it's almost kind of similar to what I've talked about every time when a player goes through on goal, and how not all the time when you see a player go through on goal it will result in a goal. Like maybe I would say 7 out of 10 times that of course would happen. That's basically what this old PK Shootout is all about. And that again, I just feel like it does create much more equality, and that the goalkeeper does have a better chance now that he can of course come off his lines, and basically they trying to cut down the angle for the penalty kick taker to do, and then the penalty kick taker can basically they make when he runs down to the to near the goal, and as he go from goal, he can maybe do some trick plays to maybe get one past the goalkeeper. So yeah, that of course is kind of one of the thing that I think it would be good to see the old PK show to be brought back. The other thing that I think people want the old PK shootout to be brought back, or at least I do, is the uniqueness. And I know nowadays there's a lot of purists talk about how the game should not be changed and the rules and how it's played should always be it way. But I feel like as time goes, there's gonna have to be some changes. And we know that this game has evolved so much in these past couple of years. Heck, in these past 10 years, it's been evolving in a big way, with the way that just 10 years ago there was no such thing as VAR. I mean, 10 years ago we would not talk about a situation, well, maybe that's offside, so maybe we'll go to VAR to see how it's going to be. No, it basically, whatever it was called on the field, it is basically the final decision, and it just feel like the game is always going to be evolving. So why not evolve in a way where you're going to bring this unique way to take a PK shootout? And I think that's going to be something that I remember even in the early 2000s, even FIFA even considered that this could be a new method of how the PK shootout is going to be. So it's not out of the question that in the future we could potentially see this back, not only in MLS but maybe in the world of soccer in general. It's way more action and entertaining to watch than a traditional PK shootout. I mean, I know that in the traditional PK show, what's entertaining is the tension that surround when you're just counting out the seconds before the penalty kick taker shoot the ball, and there's always that tension of which way he's going to go, and is the goalkeeper going to go the right way to save that one. Well, it's good that there's that kind of tension, but what is great about this old PK shootout kind of method is that not only it creates a bit of a tension, but it's definitely more entertaining and more action, because I've said before where both the goalkeeper and the penalty kick taker needs to show up some skills in terms of trying to either score on the penalty or maybe save a penalty. And I think you can definitely see that is definitely going to create much more entertainment than your usual just hoping to see where exactly the penalty kick taker is going to go which side in terms of taking the penalty. And then of course the last thing that that I think we should bring back the old PK shootout is that it forces players to use their mental and physical skill. I mean, so far in the traditional PK shootout, it's all about mental skill. It's all the mind games that we've seen before, where the goalkeeper trying to put off the penalty kick taker, or in some case the penalty kick taker might show some good skill to basically get past the keeper. But in this case, both goalkeeper and the penalty kick taker needs to use their mental and physical skill, and especially in the physical skill department too, because if you're a penalty kick taker, you're not just going to go up there and just try to shoot one past the keeper. The keeper is going to try to make himself as big as possible to deny him that. And if you're a goalkeeper, you also have to kind of come off the line and be brave to trying to save that one too, and that does creates a lot of physical ways for the goalkeeper to of course have to do. But yeah, that is pretty much some of the reason why the old PK show should be brought back. But now let's take a look of why it shouldn't be brought back, and there is definitely good reason why it should be brought back. And one of the biggest reason is more risk of injuries. I mean, we've seen it before in the old PK shootout of how many guys have suffered from injuries, either from the penalty kick taker when they're basically running as fast as they can to try to get through the goalkeeper. What if the goalkeeper basically took out their legs as they're trying to maybe round the keeper, or maybe trying to slot past the or shoot the ball right as he basically got clipped by the goalkeeper. And then in the other sense, the goalkeeper is also at the risk too. And I think goalkeeper actually is more risk in this situation, because when you come off your line like that, and anytime when the other player's going full speed ahead, there is a high chance that you are of course going to get injured. Like this is why when we seen a situation when you have two players that is going in opposite direction with the the goal scorer going through and going the keeper coming off his lines quick to basically trying to smother the ball, there's always a high chance that could end up badly, and it could be a collision that could happen. And this is exactly what is a very similar situation. So yeah, there is definitely a huge risk that injuries could happen compared to the traditional PK shootout, where I don't recall anybody actually can get injured from a PK shootout. Like, unless you might pull your hamstring right as you take your penalty kick, which God forbid, let's hope that's not going to be happening, because that would be embarrassing. I don't think I've ever seen like any injuries that I've seen players or goalkeepers suffer from this traditional penalty kick take. The purists will think that it's too Americanized. So this was really the biggest reason why MLS eventually scrapped the PK shootout, and the fact that, it feels like MLS was kind of starting to become a little bit too Americanized, especially not just the PK shootout itself, but also the rules of how, the clock of course count down and there's no stoppage time, and also, the game if it ends in a tie score, it doesn't actually end in a tie and they go to a PK shootout. All that it is good to trying to please Americans to, like, not hope to watch a game where they realize that there's going to be a winner. But unfortunately, there's also some Americans that watch other leagues, and they feel like the way that the game is played in MLS and the way that they try to Americanize it is not a good way to promote their brand. So yeah, this is kind of one of the biggest reason why the downfall of the old PK shootout happened in MLS, and eventually MLS scrap, and it's going to continue to be the case. Like, purists will continue to use this argument of the fact that, yeah, this is too unique. We want to always keep the traditional rule, and this is just going to make things too crazy that we don't want to see any part in the game of soccer. There's lesser chance of a mind games between the keeper and shooter, and in some way, I'm kind of being a little bit nitpicky about this, because there's still a chance that there could be some mind games, especially when the goalkeeper and the run and the penalty kicker go through. The goalkeeper can maybe show off some moves to trick the penalty kick taker, or in the case of the penalty kick taker, they can maybe make a smart kind of pump fake kind of move. Well, not really a pump fake, but more like a stutter step to kind of fake his shot before shooting it past the goalkeeper. But still, it's not going to be as much a mind game as what we see in a traditional penalty kick shootout, where we always see mind games in terms of that. And especially the fact that, in a traditional PK shootout, you're more closer between the penalty kick taker and the goalkeeper. So there's a good chance that, when you're close in contact, that's where the mind games is played. Whereas here, both keeper and penalty kick taker is like 35 yards separate each other, and that's just feels like it's a little bit too far to maybe make some direct contact and maybe trying to play mind games with the penalty kick taker. But nevertheless, again, I think there could be a lesser chance that we see these kind of mind games that is played compared to a traditional PK shootout. And then finally, the pressure to get a shot off before the timers runs out. So, one of the thing about the old PK shootout is that there is a timer, and that, if you're a penalty kick taker, you have to get that shot off before the timer runs out, because if you can't get it off before the timer runs out, then that's an invalid penalty kick, and that could put a lot of pressure on penalty kick taker, and maybe a little bit too much pressure with the way that, penalty kick taker might just go with their traditional ways of just trying to slot past the goalkeeper. I mean, I mentioned before how, one of the good thing about this traditional or this old PK shootout is that it does create a lot of action, and that, a penalty kick taker can show off his skill to trying to score past the goalkeeper, but the timer really kind of limits that chance. Like, you want to put a lot of skill to trying to get past the keeper and runs into the net, but the question is, do you have enough time to do so? Because if you don't have enough time, it doesn't matter. That penalty kick will not be valid, because you basically shot it right after the time or the shot clock basically expired. But either way, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this video, and let me know in the comments below, do you think we should see the old MLS PK shootout back? I mean, for me, I feel like, I would love to see the old PK shootout back, but I would love to see it either in an exhibition game or maybe in the MLS All-Star game. Like, that's one thing that I think in the skills challenge in the All-Star game. That should be one thing that we should see. Like I know that there's already a lot of good skills challenge that we've seen in the MLS All-Star skill challenge, but this is definitely one that they should have. Especially this is something that's been embedded in this league, and that this is something that, you know, it's a crazy experiment that did not work, but it would be nice to see it back and see it on display once again, to kind of give that nostalgia of how the league used to decide tie, and how the PK Shootout used to go in when the league was still in its infant state. But let me know in the comments below if you agree with that, and again, let me know in the comments below, do you think we should bring back the old PK Shootout in these MLS games, and especially in the playoffs? But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.